Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with another installment of Mutant Monday. Last few weeks, we've been covering the Messiah trilogy as well as its the events that led to it. Having covered X-Men: Second Coming, the last chapter of the Messiah trilogy last week. However, there are still a few, shall we say, side stories involved in Second Coming, which we'll be covering today in X-Men: Second Coming. Revelations. Revelations comprises the one-shots X-Men Hope and X-Men Blind Science, as well as the miniseries X-Men Hellbound, and the X-Factor tie-in of sorts to Messiah Complex. So, starting things off with X-Men Hope. X-Men Hope begins in the future with Hope, when she was a child, helping Cable and, in fact, removing a bullet from a wound in his arm. And Cable's grumpy because, he's Cable. He's always grumpy. But they managed to take out the sniper that got him earlier. They also do some training together, with Hope learning how to survive, especially if something happens to Cable. And she does get a few hits in on him. We'll also see them dealing with robot dogs on ice, and Hope having to use the skills she's learned from Cable. And it concludes with Hope as a young adult with Cable, camping and fixing dinner for him as he's been injured. It's really just kind of a, more of what Hope and Cable went through in the future kind of story. Next up, we've got X-Men Blind Science. So, previously, early on during the Messiah Complex, it was discovered that Bastion had constructed an oil rig just off the coast of San Francisco. So, Cyclops deploys the X-Club, the X-Men's team of scientists, to investigate. When they arrive, however, they find that the oil rig is more than it initially appeared to be, and is outfitted with a high-tech tower and countdown timer speeding towards zero. So, they're trying to figure out what to do, and we get some background on one of the members, Dr. Kavita Rowe. Including talking about, it does go into as well the bit of, let's just say, infamy she carries, especially within the mutant community. She is not a mutant, but she did develop the mutant cure. So, the timer in the oil rig speeds towards zero, and suddenly, X-Club is elsewhere, met by a strange man with an unkempt long hair and a beard. Box, Madison Jeffries, formerly of Alpha Flight, and as I said, member of X-Club, realizes that something's different with his powers. He should be able to sense the metals all around, but I feel like he can only feel things really close. The group were attacked by mechanically augmented things, which kind of bears some similarities to some members of the X-Men. However, one of the monstrosities attacks their X-Club's guy, who reveals himself to be none other than a depowered Hank McCoy. As he seemingly dies, saying, "Oh, my stars and garters." Continue make their way through, and they do come upon more troubles. Beast manages to catch up with them, explaining what happened. That they're 30 years in the future, and Bastion attempted to annihilate what was left of the mutant race, and they beat him. Hard-won victory, deaths and disasters, collateral damage. They discovered too late that Bastion had corrupted and cloned their own tech, the Island's defenses, the power grid, even Danger's hard light systems. But somehow they won in spite of it all. Then the world changed, and then it kept changing. And it's decided that Kavita will resynthesize her anti-mutant serum. So she gets to work. Decides that this resynthesized cure is her burden to bear. They go to Utopia, which is the heart of everything. To get through. And the sample is, and Hank takes the sample out of the that she's synthesized. Laughs, and it turns out that no, it was really just a hologram. In fact, as Dr. Evans has put it, they got holodecked. But now they have the mutant cure. Turns out that behind this plot was none other than, well, obviously Bastion, but working through Graydon Creed and the Sapien League. But turns out that Dr. Rowe didn't, well, she was working on making something. It wasn't the mutant cure. It's an unstable pyrovirus, causing the oil rig to explode, and Dr. Nemesis to maybe admit that he does respect Kavita. So they're about to head back to Utopia when the sphere envelops the entire area. And that's where the story ends. Which brings us to X-Men Hellbound. Early on in Messiah Complex, Cyclops' Alpha roster, with the inclusion of Magic, caught up with Cable and Hope at a hotel. During that, the hotel was besieged by purifiers, and the purifiers used a weaponized ritual to remove Magic from the playing field. This scene is replayed. And afterwards, a day later after Nightcrawler's death, Colossus is basically telling Cyclops he's going after his sister. He's not asking to go. He's saying he's going. But Cyclops keeps telling him, no, I need you here. Plus, you're too close to this. And also says, yeah, I'm not sending you. That doesn't mean I'm not sending anybody. And so he's having Cannonball put a team together. So far, Cannonball and Cyclops and Colossus tried to recruit Pixie, but she's not having it. Cannonball figures maybe Enola can help. He's not too keen on helping Ileana either. Then she goes after Dazzler. Then Cannonball gets Dazzler, North Star, Trance, who only agrees to send her psychic form, not her body, and Gambit to all go. Enola is able to convince Pixie to go along because they can't get to Limbo without Pixie, since Magic is stuck there. Mainly because she's mainly agreeing to go because Enola will go with her. They arrive, and Limbo is the chaos it usually is. They try to make their way to Ileana. And of course, Sim and Despair, two of the higher ranking members of Limbo, are they're looking for magic. Mainly because Despair wishes to rule Limbo. Or no, that's not Despair. That's right. That's not Despair. That's Nastir. Got my X-Men related Demon Lords mixed up. Also, something has happened to Gambit. He claims that Remy's not here right now. We also see Magic's arrival back in Limbo when it happened. Fast forwarding to the present, the X-Men are trying to do what they can to, help. However, I mentioned something that happened with Gambit. His whatever Apocalypse did to him to turn him into a horseman has retaken hold, and he is once again the Horseman Death. And he declares himself the ruler of Limbo. And Death then appears to save Dazzler and North Star. Sim, however, is going after Pixie. Nastir pulls her aside for a word. Turns out, though, that Death has not shown up to help North Star and Al. Somebody has shown up to claim Dazzler. And he appears to have some sort of a corrupting touch, which infects Dazzler. Which, at the very least, it does infect Dazzler. The rest of the team are trying to make their way through the hordes of demons. And then Death and his two henchmen, formerly Dazzler and North Star, show up. Nastir is explaining that he doesn't want to fight Pixie. He actually wants to help Pixie. In fact, he wants to help Pixie get her soul back, as Liliana did take a piece of it. In exchange, Nastir, of course, wants the Soul Sword. And Trance is trying to convince Pixie not to go along with this, and goes and makes a move against Nastir, and is then sent back to her body. And with Trance gone, Nastir explains all he wants is the Soul Sword, and all Pixie has to do is kill magic. Nastir and Pixie arrive at where magic is being held in limbo, and well, things aren't looking too great. Cannonball and Anole managed to kind of keep hold of themselves, though Anole does make some complaints, though, namely that everything the X-Men do goes back to haunt them. Back with Magic and Pixie, Nastir is trying to get Pixie to kill Magic. However, Pixie turns on him and stabs him with her soul dagger. And which Nastir doesn't get this, Why would Pixie fight for Magic? After everything Magic's done to her. And Pixie says that's what X-Men do. Death and his minions arrive. There's a massive battle against with them and the X-Men going after Nastir. With then Cannonball arriving in the middle of things. Dazzler tries to take Cannonball, but as does North Star. But yeah, it's Pixie's able to cut free Ileana, and they manage to get everything back to normal eventually, and head back to Utopia, hoping there's still one to go to. And that's where Hellbound ends. Now we've got X Factor. So, since Messiah Complex, Layla has returned to the present. Siren has taken on the name Banshee in honor of her father. Shatterstar has joined the team. Well, actually, I think Shatterstar joined the team before Messiah Complex. But, more recently, M, Monet St. Croix, has gone deep into South America to retrieve her kidnapped father, only to be taken prisoner herself by her father's captor, Baron Mordo, longtime Doctor Strange foe. Strong Guy's gone after her, and is working on calling him out. We begin with a simulation of the MRD, the Mutant Response Division, attacking X Factor headquarters. Richter falls easily, but Shatterstar manages to take out more than a few of them, and then Madrox basically shows up and finishes them off. All the scenarios basically lead to a pitched battle in the Manhattan streets that more than likely it will call forth allies to X Factor's sides, including the Avengers, the Young Avengers, Daredevil, Spider-Man, and the Fantastic Four. And yeah, that's not exactly something the MRD wants. But they're going to try and figure out some way to get them. Of course, who's in charge of the MRD? Why not none of them? Bolivar Trask. So, the MRD makes its play. Their play being they send the Absorbing Man to hire X Factor. Basically, giving him, say, hey, tell him you think Titania's cheating on you, lure the team to a remote location, we'll take care of it from there. So, Absorbing Man tells Madrox's story. They don't entirely believe him because, yeah, okay, he's no catch, but who's going to cheat on a guy that can turn himself into, anything he touches? So he offers up a wad of cash, though. And he just, he doesn't want them to. He just wants them to find out who Titania's cheating on him with, and then he'll handle the rest from there. And he offers up, like I said, a nice wad of cash, and Madrox has Longshot, who's joined the team, take the money. Longshot does object, saying that usually it's Richter that handles the money. However, Madrox explains he wants Longshot to handle it. And Madrox asks for information to help with tracking down Titania. In South America, Strong Guy is, proceeding to call out Baron Mordo and Then the MRD arrives and promptly shoots Mordo and goes after Strong Guy. So Strong Guy drags Mordo into his hideout. Meanwhile, X Factor's heading upstate to a remote cabin and they find Titania. And yeah, she spotted them. And she simply smiles and waves. And the car, the Jeep they're using is promptly shot to hell by the MRD. Meanwhile, MRD forces are keeping an eye on X Factor investigations. Some of the local color accosts them a little bit. Of course, that local color, well, that's not important for a moment. In Ireland, Banshee's trying to board a plane to head back to New York. She's been informed she's on a no-fly list, though, which she finds to be the funniest thing in the world because, well, yeah. However, the MRD is waiting for her and does manage to hit her with some tranq darts, which do take her to the ground. However, Banshee's not the only member of X Factor present in the airport. Shatterstar and Layla are also there. Back at the cabin, the MRD is investigating the the SUV they've shot to pieces. They discover that they didn't get anyone. In fact, Darwin was driving, utilizing an image indicator to give him the appearance of Madrox. Also, car had danger room tech installed, makes realistic reactive holograms. And now, for those unaware, Darwin's power is to adapt to survive. He's being shot at. Oh, let's make him gaseous. Oh, well, okay, you're gaseous, and the bullet passes right through you. Or you're now, or his body evolves to a point of being invulnerable to harm, or at least to bullets. Or hell, even to the point of, just maybe better at, sustaining himself off of bullets. However, a massive MRD tank shows up with a giant buzzsaw blade, and Darwin teleports away. Explaining it was much like what happened with the Hulk, or when he fought the Hulk. His body decided the best way for him to survive was to teleport him out of there. And that local color that was bothering the MRD troops earlier, it was Richter in disguise, gathering some intel. Madrox and Longshot discuss plans, or what passes for one, or whatever Madrox's trying to formulate that passes for a plan. Meanwhile, Strong Guy is dealing with Mordo and the St. Croix. Turns out, somehow, Mordo came back from the dead. No, he died of cancer, came back from the dead, but we can state with the cancer back. But if he feeds off of Monet's life energies, it keeps the cancer at bay. In Ireland, the MRD troops are promptly taken down in a variety of methods. Some messy, some not so messy. And back in New York, the MRD decide, okay, they're going to raid the building. Mordo, back in South America, Mordo opts to send strong guy Monet's father, and himself teleport them back to the U.S. because, well, the MRD troops will be making their way to him, but it's like they're going to be hit with air support. Back in Ireland, Banshee comes to in the back of a jeep that Shatterstar and Layla have liberated, and are making their way away. And Shatterstar teleports them back to New York. The X-Factor's all together. And they take on the MRD. With Monet going after Trask, who's taken the lead. Trask is able to override Bastion's control for a moment. He apologizes to Monet for what's happened and then proceeds to shoot himself. The MRD forces withdraw, and that's where the story ends. And that is Second Coming Revelations. All in all, nice little wrap up. It was nice that they opted to at least tangentially include X Factor. I kind of feel like Hellbound could have been worked into some of I would say the third quarter of Second Coming, but it would have also been less detailed. All that out of the way, though, that's it for this Mutant Monday. Perhaps there will be one next week. We'll see. That said, we should actually have a comic book roundup this Wednesday. Fingers crossed there. Diamond is supposedly shipping comics again this week, so fingers crossed. So anyway, all out of the way. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long, rock hard, and be safe, everyone.